Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. Back with another video a day till this channel hits 100,000 subscribers, a video a day till 100K. I'm really making this push because it's something that I'm taking very seriously, but I wanted to talk about a couple years ago when I flew out to Bradenton, Florida to speak on behalf of Cleetus McFarland. Now, I saw a bunch of comments when that stuff came in about, you know, like clout chasing and all that stuff, which is fine. I mean, you're going to get that with these big jobs. You're going to get that with the YouTube space. It's natural. But, you know, I've been following Cleetus for quite a while. Maybe the first videos I saw of him was taking the Dale truck out for valet years ago.
Tell him she likes to pull left at 200.
And I thought about this recently. This actually hit me when I was watching a recent video where, well, George bought Cleetus some Swans, and then Cleetus ended up buying Dale Jr. some Swans, and like this gifting of Swans back and forth. That whole concept really put into perspective for me what you guys, the viewers, especially those who are like, oh, you're just clout chasing Cleetus, need to understand. Like, that trip that I took out to Bradenton, Florida, it was my Swan gift to Cleetus, essentially. It was like what I could provide to somebody who I feel is like doing great things for this space that I say I share with him, but like at such a small level. So for me, I spent almost 20 years in the construction industry, and Cleetus put out this call to action.
This is the future development area boundary right here, this purple line. So development's supposed to be within that. These people are planning on building 4,500 homes outside of the urban boundary line. And this is the racetrack right here. Any of you are welcome to come to the Manatee County Administrative Center this Thursday, December 15th at 9 a.m.
It really, and honestly still does, put in jeopardy the future of that racetrack. Now, this is at a time when I worked in a tech job. I was traveling the country, sales calls all over the place. So I was racking up frequent flyer miles like nobody's business. And Cleetus puts this video out saying like, hey, in a couple days, there's gonna be this public hearing in Manatee County, and you know, we're encouraging anybody to come. And I just turned to my wife and I was like, hey, I should fly out there. And she literally just said like, yeah, I'll go for it. I just booked the ticket, and before you knew it, I was on a flight. It was like literally that quick of like a spur of the moment decision. But you know, part of the reason why my wife said go for it, and part of the reason why I'm such a big fan of Cleetus and you know what he does for this whole platform, is my wife also watches those videos. My wife grew up with her father, who was a Goodyear store manager. He was like Joe NASCAR, loved racing. My wife hated it. My wife wanted absolutely nothing to do with cars or racing or any of that nonsense. This carried into our marriage, and it also carries into like, she really could care less about the motorcycle. She doesn't really care too much about the side-by-side thing. It's just motorsports isn't really her thing. But as a YouTuber, I noticed that she's watching Cleetus videos with me. Not only is she watching Cleetus videos with me, she's also getting annoyed if I watch them without her. That's why I think she was like, yeah, go for it. Like, I was literally going to support a YouTuber, not only that I appreciate, but she does as well. And I also felt like I had a unique perspective on the construction side of like this whole Freedom Factory build project, because I came from construction. Not only did I come from construction, I spent quite a few years on the civil side of construction, and I very much have an understanding of drainage, water runoff, which it sounds to me like there were some issues with that development later on. I do recall Cleetus talking about part of the track flooding out because of some of the land development going on over there. So I jumped on a flight. I flew out there for nothing other than to speak at this public hearing. I was ready to rock and roll. It wasn't written down, but it was like in my head, I knew what I was going to say. I had a couple notes on my phone. And then when I went and stood up, I actually ended up hearing, before I went and stood up at the podium, I heard somebody say something about like, oh my God, there's like 50,000 people watching the live stream right now, something like that. And all of a sudden, I didn't feel like I was in the spotlight at this like public hearing, man, when I got up to that podium, I felt like I choked. Resident of Maricopa County, which is in Phoenix, and yes, I flew all the way here specifically for this. I wanted to come out here. I saw in the news yesterday that local news channel said that local race enthusiasts were worried about this, and this is far-reaching. This goes way beyond the county. Out of curiosity, I looked up the Visit Florida YouTube channel last night, and it was astounding. 16 years, they have amassed 40 million views. This track is generating that in 2 months. What is the economic impact of that reach? To hear you guys say you're just going to kind of push this through to the transmit stage, not to worry about it like it's just going to make it through to the state and then it's on them. Well, once it gets back here, you've already said in some earlier conversations about some other things that we're discussing is, well, we can't walk it back. You know, I made this point that Cleetus's channel has exponential reach over the state-funded travel board. So like Travel Florida, whatever the thing is that they call it. And it's like you are literally taking a person who is bringing all of this attention and literal travel to your state and like putting them in a vice where you theoretically can have him clashing with residents that maybe pushes him out of Florida. That whole swan gifting was like, man, that was my swan. That was the best that I could provide for this situation, and I was happy to do it. Now, it was also funny because people are like, what a waste of money. Why'd you fly? Like, honestly, it really didn't, in my opinion, I was like playing with house money because it was all like frequent flyer miles. And I think the only thing I paid for was a rental car. The hotel I had was also covered with points. And it was basically like a free trip. And I also got to go out and wander around, you know, Bradenton Motorsports Park. I didn't get a chance to get into the Freedom Factory, but as somebody who's in this YouTube creative space, to take a trip from Phoenix all the way to Bradenton, Florida, and just kind of walk around there, it just felt good. And I've found myself over the years as a YouTuber just trying to kind of have these experiences where I get to kind of be a part of something these bigger YouTubers are doing, because it like helps drive me. It helps me see like what's possible. I was on another sales call. I traveled out to Texas and I intentionally got in my rental car. I had an extra day, drove out to Bunker Branding and just kind of got to see that. I drove out to Desperado Ranch. I rode my motorcycle out for the Bring It Home Most Motorcycles in a Harley Davidson Parade event put on by Adam Sandoval back in like 2019. Spent the weekend at his campground, met some other larger YouTubers. That's where I actually met John Maxwell, who is just an incredible guy. Miss him on YouTube, but John's awesome. And, you know, any chance I get to kind of get out there and just see other people doing cool shit. And if I can help, I'm here to help, because I have this perception with like YouTube that rising tides lift all ships. And if I can help support larger YouTubers, which is very hard to do, I will do it. Their growth and just them existing helps this channel grow. You know, it's great. Now, hopefully this channel does eventually get to 100K, and there is definitely a part of me that's like, man, I want to run that Freedom 500. But unfortunately, I think that Freedom 500 is getting way bigger, way quicker than I am, to the point where even if I get to 1 million subscribers, I am not a NASCAR driver. And it seems like that whole Freedom 500 is really starting to get like a star-studded lineup of racers. So unfortunately for me, I have a funny feeling that whole event gets much larger than wherever I can ever be at the point of where it's at. So I won't catch up to it. I don't see that happening. I just had a chance to go out with Kumho Tires and rip around a track in a Porsche GT4 RS, which was just still blows my mind that that's something that was in reach and grasp of this YouTube channel. Absolute dream come true. And, you know, I have learned with this channel to never say never, because it's like 2-3 months goes by and it's like nothing's really happening. And some email comes, next thing you know, a week or two later, I'm out ripping Porsches around a track. So this channel, incredible things come from it, and without you guys, none of that happens. And I'm gonna say it, like, without these larger YouTubers that are like creating an entire community around the YouTube space, and that's also a huge part of why I'm such a huge fan of like what Cleetus is doing in general, is he's not just following a niche. He is doing at a level I don't know if I can ever even meet, whatever his heart desires. Like, he's racing, then he's doing airplanes, then it's helicopters, then it's a house build, it's boats, it's like everything. And that's been kind of a huge part of like a green light to me to just keep doing what I want to do, because it comes across on camera. And that's why people like my wife watch their channel, because they start to resonate with that individual, not just the car that they're driving or the build that they're doing in their garage. You know, it's not repetitive. It's always like something new. And that's what I try to do on this channel. So, you know, I guess that's kind of my whole point of this, is like, I just wanted to address like the why. You know, why would some random YouTuber, if it wasn't just for clout, hop on a flight and like travel all the way across the country? The truth is, it was like just opportunity. It was like I could do it pretty much zero money out of pocket, and it felt like the Swans, you know, is kind of the best that I can compare it to. So I'll leave it at that. With that being said, again, video a day until this channel hits 100K. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel. See you guys next time.